Okay, so hey family, welcome back to my channel. Today I am back with another episode review of my 600-pound life. Today's episode is going to be James B's story. So without further ado, I don't want to waste no time. Be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Turn on your post notification bell so that you're notified every single time your girl call your phone. And yeah, let's go ahead and get right into this review. It first opened up with him basically just showing us his everyday routine. Basically, he says that as soon as he get up in the morning, he start his day, he had to order food. So he was on the phone placing his order for breakfast, and I think he was getting IHOP because when the food containers came, it looked like the DoorDash food containers for the IHOP orders. And he say he spends a lot of time on food networks and stuff, ordering food, seeing what they have on there. That's just what he spends most of his time doing. He ordered so much food for breakfast. He had like French toast. I think that was fish, or I know he had ham, and I think that was chicken. I just know it was a lot of fried foods that he had. It was just a whole lot of them. So he says, after he ordered his food or whatever, even though it don't take that long to come, he starts getting real anxious. Like, he be ready for his food to get there. As soon as he order it, he want his food to be at the door so he can put it in his mouth, honey. That's what he want. So he's always ready to eat because food is basically like his confidant. It gives him what he wants. He used that to cope with everything. He said he gets full, but it's only temporary. But that's just because he just stretched his belly out so much that you don't have a choice but to eat a lot of food. He says that bathing is basically the worst part of the day, really, because he be in so much pain from, having to make his way into the bathroom and actually bathe himself. But he is mobile. He's able to move around on his own. He's mobile. He actually able to fit in the tub because, most people that get on here, they can't even fit in a dang on tub. So yeah, he's able to wash his own self. He says that from washing himself, he start having like lower back pain. From having to reach and all that, but he sits on a chair in the tub and he washes his back and stuff like that using a little body exfoliation glove type thing, and then he uses a shower brush to get into all those spaces, those crevices and things like that. And he says he makes sure he washes his ass every day because you big, you got a lot more going on. Make that your business every single day to get up and bathe, and that's what he said he does. He said that's his exercise every day when he get up and wash himself clean. Then they start getting into the whole spiel about his upbringing and his childhood and things like that. So he lets us know that he's Caribbean. They ate a lot of different foods. They ate gold and all kind of stuff, and it was just him, his mother, and his brother. But I think he also lived in a house with his cousins and his grandmother that we later found out about. And his dad wasn't really around like that majority of his life. So he said his mom used to work late, and when she used to come home at night, she used to feed him large amounts of food. So he was like staying up late eating all this different kind of foods, and then probably going to sleep on it, having that food set on you. That's another reason to be piling on weight. You're not supposed to be eating like that and then laying right down afterwards. Like, come on now. He said he was 100 pounds by the time he was 6 years old. He said he used to finesse the lunch ladies at lunch. He was about 6 or 7 or 8 around in that time frame. He used to finesse them at school to have them put him up something extra for lunch, and he used to tell his teachers he was going to the bathroom, but he'll really be in the cafeteria eating. So I feel like it's a lot of people at fault for this, because why wasn't y'all watching that baby while he was in the cafeteria? And why was the cafeteria people giving this child who is clearly obese and has a problem with food, why are y'all enabling him and putting up food and stuff like that? Like, come on, y'all know better than that. Why would y'all do that? And by the time he got 8 years old, he was already 300 pounds. So he was a big boy. And then he was 500 pounds by the time it was time for him to graduate high school. He didn't go to college, but he did end up getting a good security job, which paid a lot, which means more money coming in, which means more food going into his mouth. He was able to buy his own food, get whatever he want, however much he wanted. He ended up moving from New York, where he's originally from, and he moved to Florida. And he started getting into music and all that type of stuff. And he met his girlfriend named Pumpkin. They met at the studio or whatever. And he said the way he ended up getting her number was by saying like he lost his phone and he needs to call from her phone to find his, basically. But throughout their relationship, she wanted to end up getting healthy, get on the whole weight loss journey, which he was with But then he started to backtrack and lose himself, and he ended up gaining all that weight back. So he moved back to New York so that he wasn't putting the burden on her, basically to have to do everything for him and for him not to basically become dependent. So he moved back to New York so he could be on his own. But he was saying that after he lose the weight, basically he gonna move back to Florida so he can be with his woman. So he introduced us to his cousin Cheyenne, and she basically is like somewhat, not really his caretaker because he takes care of himself, but she's basically like his extra arms and legs. She brings him food, she cooks for him, stuff like that. He said he mostly stays at home because he has anxiety from going out, from being so big. He has an issue with people staring at him, and it makes him uncomfortable. Because he doesn't go out, his brother shops for him, goes to the grocery store for him and do all that stuff, and he FaceTime him when he in a different aisle so that he's able to see the things that he's buying. But his brother put a cutoff on that shit and let him know, I'm not getting all this stuff. Enough is enough. His brother said in his confessional that he really just missed them hanging out and doing brotherly things. Kaylin, you all in your booty, girl. They got back home and they was eating some more food. Him, the brother, and the cousin Cheyenne, they sitting at the table eating some more dang on food. And he was saying that basically he feel like a ticking time bomb. Like one day he gonna take his last bite, and that bite is what's gonna take him out. So he's ready to change his life so he can, live a little bit longer. So the next day come around or whatever, and him and his cousin Cheyenne that he introduced us to, and some of his friends take that drive to Houston so that they able to get him to his appointment with Dr. Now. So he isn't looking forward to the trip, but he knows that without the trip is basically life or death at this point. On the way to Houston or whatever, he was walking down the steps in his apartment, and he kept having to stop because he kept running out of breath. Like every couple of steps he had to sit down, take a break. Every few more steps, sit down, take a break, breathing out hard. So that's one thing I can say is that he was actually trying. He was dedicated, showing that he was dedicated. Even if he had to keep taking breaks after every 3 steps, he made it. So he was being that he was having issues making it down the steps, he started having doubts about the travel, because it was so long, and they traveled for 3 days. I think he said they made it down the road like 5 hours, and then he was ready to lay down because he started experiencing pain from the ride. His legs and stuff was all cramped and all that. But he says through the process to actually get to the appointment, he just gonna stay steady with his pain levels until they arrive. So once they get to the office, they have to do the first initial weigh-in. So he weighs in at 625. Now this is the first time he's weighed himself in a long time, so he did not know how much he weighed. So 625 is what he weighed. So he says he's glad it isn't far off from what he last weighed at, because he said the last time he weighed himself, he was around the 600 mark. So he's just glad that he's not like far gone or whatever. But I mean, 625, baby, that's still doing a little bit too much. But I mean, hey, that's what you want to show for, right? To get help. He was saying that from the traveling so long, his legs had started to give out. He was trying to walk down the hallway in the doctor's office, and he kept having to stop and take breaks because his legs just could not do it from having to sit in that van so long, traveling from New York all the way to Houston for 3 days. Like, come on. And then his cousin was just really, really supportive. She was just like, do you need anything? Do you need any help? Are you okay? You gonna be able to make it? Do you need to take a break? Like, his cousin was literally there the entire step of the way, and not one time did I see that she was getting aggravated or irritated. Even though I know in the back of her mind she probably was like, oh my God, I'm over it. She never showed it. She was very, very supportive. And people who are going through situations like that, they need somebody like that in their corner. Like, big ups to his cousin, because she was a real one. Because it's not many people, family or friends, that are sticking through with you on a journey this tough. They get in the room, and Dr. Now come in there and basically, just doing a little health backstory. Basically asking him, like, what's the issues? Why is he eating so much? Like, what his upbringing was. And he told Dr. Now that he eats from depression, but depression basically comes from him being big, not being able to go out in public without being afraid of people staring at him. That's what brings him the depression, and that's what makes him stay in the house and eat. Dr. Now says, of course you can't do that. You got to break out of that. He was just stressing to Dr. Now, like, I'm ready for the process. I want to do it. I want to stick with it. And Dr. Now was basically telling him, like, I can lead you to the water, but I can't make you drink it. And it's nothing is going to happen overnight. And it's not magic. I can give you the tools, but you have to follow them in order for you to see the results. So Dr. Now excuse me, like I said, I'm getting over a cold. Dr. Now gave him a $1,200 calorie diet. He told him 3 meals a day, no alcohol, low carb, high protein meals. He wants him to exercise twice a day, and he ended up giving him like a little pamphlet with a bunch of exercises on it for him to do throughout the day. He wanted him to see a psychotherapist for the depression and anxiety issues, and lose 80 pounds within 2 months. So in 2 months, he wanted him to be down 80 pounds. So he said he was going to be able to do it. He was going to be able to stick with it. But Dr. Now was saying that he concerned that he isn't as motivated as he say he is and as he, portray himself to be. Because he feels like, the process is like magic, which it isn't. It's hard work. You got to put in that work. And James was saying he didn't really expect Dr. Now to give him an 80-pound weight loss goal for 2 months. But he going to work at it, and he going to try to work at it as best as he can. No more cheeseburgers and all that stuff. We see as time go on, he start doing the workouts and stuff. Everything was going good. His cousin Cheyenne, like I said, was there helping him out every step of the way, cooking his food for him, things like that. His cousin came over with a Chipotle bowl, and he ate half of the Chipotle bowl, and he was like he was full. He was going to save the rest for dinner. The only thing he was having issues with on his journey so far was the walking, because it hurt so bad. But he was doing it. Like I said, even though he was in pain, he stuck it out. So he was walking the stairs again, y'all, and this time he did way better than he did when he was walking down them steps to go to Houston. He did way better. I think he did 4 up and down them steps. He did a very good job. And of course his cousin was there leading him on, championing him on, so that's good. He had that support. So now he 1 month in, but at this 1 month mark, his father passes away. So that's kind of like a little setback for him. He was already dealing with depression stuff and all that. It just caused him to put a halt on it. Not put a halt on it, but it kind of slowed his pace down, because he still was doing what he was supposed to do. So instead of going to the actual office in Houston, he requested a virtual appointment with the doctor, just to see if he was able to reschedule and get another month added on to it, because his dad's death kind of did set him back. And Dr. Now, of course, y'all know he had to give his whole spiel, but eventually he gave him the extension on the 1 month. So that's 3 months now. That's the 3-month goal. So Dr. Now still wants him to be done lost them same 80 pounds within the next 2 months when he comes back. That was good for him. He was excited that Dr. Now didn't give up on him, and he gave him an extension. So he go to his cousin's house just so he can get out the house a little bit, free his mind from all those thoughts, especially like with the death of his dad. So she cooked for him and all that. They chop it up. So now we at month 2. He missed another appointment in Houston. So that means he had to do it virtually. And at this moment, I figured, oh hell, here go the shenanigans. He finna start going downhill. He ain't gonna stick with it. He was saying how he have other obligations, and he just needs more time to spend with his family and grieve. But my whole thing with that was, before your father passed away, you was homebound. You wasn't leaving out your doors. So what more can you do for your family now that you weren't able to do then, that's hindering you from getting your butt to Houston to get checked on about your weight loss goal? That was my only concern. I wasn't upset with him about taking the time to grieve for his father. I was just confused as to what the difference was, because you always been homebound. You've never been able to really help your family, but now all of a sudden they need you. What do they need you to do? That's what I was concerned with. So basically, Dr. Nell was telling him the same thing, like, don't start using this as a crutch. Like, I understand you going through stuff, but you have to work for it, for yourself, and for your dad. Like, your dad will want you to be healthy. But he ended up granting him another month extension, but the same goal, 80 pounds. But he was saying at the end of the virtual appointment that he started feeling like Dr. Nell was doubting that he was able to do it. And like I told y'all, I started doubting it myself, because, come on now, 2 appointments back to back you done missed. So then we get to month 3, and he go to the appointment, and he said he was going to cancel, but he just could not bring himself to call Dr. Now and cancel that appointment again. So he went on ahead and went, and he just wanted to show Dr. Now that he's committed to this process. So when he gets to Houston, get to the doctor's office, he do the weigh-in like always, and this time he weighed 597. So he lost 28 pounds since the first initial appointment with Dr. Now. So, of course, Dr. Now gonna chew him out still, because that's not the 80 pounds I told you to lose, but it's some weight that you have lost. So I'm gonna work with you. So, Dr. Now asked him, what have you been doing since, we last spoke? He says, oh, I changed my eating habits. I bought an air fryer, da da da. And Dr. Now was saying, there's still a lot of calories, but it's good that you're making progress. He asked about any family members that was there to basically support him. And, he has his cousin Cheyenne is there. But he got on her, too. He was chewing her out, too, because she the one that bought the dang on air fryer. And, she was using the same excuse about, his dad passed away and da-da-da. And he told her the same thing. Listen, I understand, but that's not an excuse. You got to do better. Which she say, okay, I understand. I'm going to help him out. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. Cool. Dr. Now told him that he was basically going to start checking his weight. Have someone in New York start checking his weight for him. Basically doing little checkups or whatever. He put him on a stricter diet. And he wanted him to lose 50 more pounds from the original goal within the next couple of months when he come back in for the weigh-in. So that's good. He working out. He going to the park. Him and his cousins. But then he ended up getting upset. Because when they went to the park, I guess it was somebody staring at him. Me, personally, I feel like because he's been in the house so long, that it was just his mind playing tricks on him. Like, honestly, he did not look that bad for people to just be staring at him like, oh my God, he's a fat ass. Like, it wasn't even that serious. And his cousins was telling him, like, they not even looking at you, like, chill. And he was saying in his confession, like, it's easy for them to say because they average size. He's not average size per se. So they not looking at them. They don't understand, how it feels. But this is something that he have to work through, of course. That's why he's in therapy. So, he not get to the therapist because it was virtual. He's talking to the therapist now. And they start digging into the issues. And, of course, he let, the therapist know about his upbringing, about his dad passing away. And the therapist just asked him to get out the house more because that's the only way you're going to be able to get over that anxiety and get that weight off of you is if you start going outside more. So he wanted him to start going outside and also write a letter or something to his dad so that he's able to vent and release it and get that hurt up off his shoulders because that's what's causing him so much grief because he was saying that, even though his dad wasn't really around in his life like that, in his older years, he do have memories with his dad. He just always figured that it was going to come a time where him and his dad was able to mend their bond and their relationship, but his dad passed away and it just is not going to happen for him. And that's the part that makes him, sad. And that's understandable. So they end up going to the pier, him and his cousin Cheyenne. They go to the pier and, he writes his letter to his dad and he recites it and releases it or whatever. And I got teary-eyed. I did. I'm not going to lie. I did. I got teary-eyed, but I'm a softie or whatever. So, now it's time for his appointment at the clinic in New York for his weigh-in. So, when he gets to the appointment, he weigh in at 543, and that's 42 pounds down so far, which is good because y'all know the initial goal was like 50. He had to lose 50 more pounds from the 25. So, that's his 80 pounds right there. So, he called Dr. Now, and he let him know, like, I'm down 42 more pounds. I'm doing good. I'm making progress. I'm speaking to the therapist. I want to continue to speak to the therapist because that's the only way I'm going to be able to work through my issues and lose more weight. So Dr. Now tells him, cool, lose another 35 pounds over the next 2 months. When you come back, we're going to try to get you approved for surgery. So he say, okay. He leave up out of there, and he was like, I wasn't really expecting another weight loss goal, but it's to be expected, to be able to get that surgery. And so he get back to working out, going to the park. He doing his walking. He watching what he eats. And then we get to month 5. He go back to Houston, and it's time for the big weigh-in. So when he weigh in, he's 507, which that's 37 pounds down from the last appointment, which he lost a total of 119 pounds, y'all. And Dr. Now come in. He let him know, I see that you're working at it. I see that you stay dedicated. So we're going to go ahead and approve you for the surgery. And he was happy. But he was trying, when Dr. Now was talking to him about going to get scheduled for the appointment, he was telling him, I'm not fully moved out of New York into Houston because I have a lot of loose ends I have to tie up with my place of living and my mom and stuff like that. But I'm going to get it handled as soon as possible, and then I'm going to get down here to you so I can get this surgery. And Dr. Now basically tell him, like, okay, but I need you to do it ASAP because I don't want you to basically relapse and gain more weight back and you don't be able to get the surgery anymore. So he say, okay, I'm going to make sure I get it done. Him and his cousin head back to New York, and they outside playing ball and all that stuff, talking about how good it is that he got approved for the surgery. And he can't wait to see his progress, and he's grateful for Dr. Now and stuff like that. And I was pretty satisfied with this episode because he was dedicated, and that's what you need in this type of program. You need dedication compared to all these other people that get on here and play games and just get on here for the TV. He actually was committed, and I feel like he's gonna go a long way. And I want them to actually show what his future is gonna look like what basically like where he is in the future after he get his surgery. Is he gonna stick to the diet? Is he gonna continue to lose weight? So I wish the best for him, y'all. This was a good episode. I'm praying for him. I hope he got his surgery and he was able to lose the weight that he needed so that he's able to live a good, carefree life. And yeah, that's the end of this episode. That's the end of this review. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Be sure to like, share, comment, subscribe. And I will see each and every one of y'all in my next one. Peace out.